Hi everybody, it's week 10 and we're doing God's World, Our World. And we're going to start off by singing the song. He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 And then you can change it to like, he's got mommies and daddies in his hands. He's got mommies and daddies in his hands. He's got mommies and daddies in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. And you can change the lyrics to any person you like. Yeah. God has you in his hands. You want me to that? He's got Naomi in his hands. 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 Is that better? Yes, you're welcome. So, God has the whole world in his hands, and God cares for all people in the world. As followers of God, we are called to be good stewards of the world and of all people in it. And the one question was, what are some things the world needs now? Oh, okay. So we can think about some of the things the world needs now, like clean water, education for everyone, food for everyone, a cleaner earth, less pollution, all those things the world really needs right now. And if you can think of anything else, you can talk about it with everybody. And now we're going to do our prayer. Dear God, our world needs you. We need you. Surround us with your love and grace and show us how to use what we have to meet the needs of others. Amen. And now we're going to read a verse from the Bible. It's Matthew 25, verses 34 through 40. Where are you? 34. There we go. Okay. So then the king will say to those at his right hand, "Come, you that are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you gave me clothing. I was sick, and you took care of me. I was in prison, and you visited me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when was it that we saw you hungry and gave you food, or thirsty and gave you something to drink? And when was it that we saw you a stranger and welcomed you, or naked and gave you clothing? And when was it that we saw you sick or in prison and visited you?" And the king will answer them, "Truly, truly, I tell you, just as you did it to one of the least of these who are members of my family, you did it to me." So that's a really powerful verse. And basically in the parable, we can think of the king as God, and we are called to care for God's people, to give them food when they're hungry, a drink when they're thirsty, to welcome them, clothe them, care for them, and spend time with them. When we serve God's people, we are serving God. And that includes everybody in the whole world. And then the next part is project examples for things that we can do to help the world, whether it be with your church or by yourself, or if you find a different organization that you can help. So the first one is, it says that all around the world, many people live on less than $2 a day, which means they can't always afford to feed everyone in their family. This means that kids are receiving inadequate nutrition and can suffer from stunted growth due to malnourishment. And the first project that you could possibly work on is coming up with or finding a organization that helps feed hungry and malnourished babies, toddlers, and elementary school children, not just around the world, but also in the United States. There's many people who also do not have enough money to feed their children. And healthcare. The second one is healthcare is expensive, and there are many areas where people don't have access to doctors or can't afford to go to one. And another idea would be to help any organizations that provide medical care for people who don't have access to it. Another thing would just be to vote for people who want to give people access to health care, and because that is something that everyone really should be able to have without going into debt. And another example would be for healthy water. So a huge percentage of people around the world don't have access to healthy water, or if they do, they have to walk a long way each day to get to it and carry it back with them in buckets. So another idea, now this one would probably be more for a global issue, but to drill a well in a community where everyone can walk to it easily without having to walk miles every day to get clean water. But it would also be a good thing to make sure that people in our own United States also have clean water. Like Flint, Michigan does not have clean water. So another one is natural disasters happen all over the world and the effects can be devastating. So you want to possibly see if you can help a community recover from a natural disaster. Like we just had the hurricane, and there's lots of places in the United States who, thank you, who had a lot of hard times after that. But also all over the world, there's natural disasters happening all the time. And another issue, yeah, mommy's filming, honey. I see. Very good. An issue that negatively affects our climate is plastic usage and waste. There's a floating collection of trash in the Pacific Ocean right now between California and Hawaii that's as big as the state of Texas. That's a lot of trash. So another thing that we can do is reduce waste by recycling and making sure that we have recycling bins at the church or at your office or at your school building so people don't throw away their plastic. Another thing you can do as well is just find alternatives other than plastic. So if you Google or go on Amazon and you look up, oh my gosh, what is it you look up? But basically if you look up for green or like non-wasteful things, you can find different objects or things that you use every day that aren't made of plastic. So that could be like a bamboo toothbrush, or you could get sheets of detergent versus the jugs of detergent, or you can make your own laundry detergent, or you can go to places that you can fill up bags, your own bags or your own containers with food instead of having things that are covered in plastic, using glass or reusable Tupperware versus ones that you throw away all the time, or if you pack your lunch, instead of using plastic utensils, you can bring real ones and just wash them. Or instead of using a plastic straw, you can use a metal straw. They even have little ones that can fold up to the size of a keychain, so you can take it with you. So if you always need a straw and you don't want to use the plastic one because that creates waste, you can use your own and then you just wash it. And always use it. You can also use reusable water bottles instead of getting the plastic ones. There's so many different ways that you can help reduce plastic and trash if you really try and look hard for different solutions. And the last example is, in many places all around the world, kids don't have access to a good education, which limits their ability to get out of poverty as they grow up. The sixth project is to start a school for elementary kids who don't have access to quality education, and that's definitely a global thing, but also in the United States. We have lots of issues, and it would be good to also vote for better education in the United States, from all levels of education, not just elementary, and to try and advocate for all the schools to have the same resources, because not all of them do. So those are some of the ideas they have in here. And if you have any other ideas, I mean, that is great too. And And here they want us to be in groups to come up with ideas, but obviously we can't be in a group right now. So if you have any ideas, that would be wonderful. And you can always message it on the bottom of this video. And then now we have Stewart. So let me show you Stewart. I just watered him earlier today to give him a drink. He's growing pretty well, being healthy, getting tall. And today we have this picture, which is the globe and hand icon to remind us that we can give our resources and time to help those in need no matter where they live. And that's a good thing to remember, because we always want to help people. Always look for the helpers, as Mr. Rogers says. So now we'll do our closing prayer, which is, Dear God, we are in your hands. All your people around the world are in your hands. Hold us, help us, and teach us the ways to share your love and our resources with those who need it most. Amen. And the snack idea is snacks from around the world, or you can make little cookies that you can frost with green and blue to make little globes. And another activity is just going online and looking up different ways you can say welcome in different languages and practicing them. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week, and we look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye.